Episode 3 of Athlete Things. Today we're going to cover managing expectations, self-doubt, all those things that I guess everyone's going through leading into competition. When you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself and dealing with that pressure, and how everyone does it, I guess, differently themselves, and where it comes from and where we can go to kind of deal with it mentally and physically, I suppose, and the things that sort of bring it up a lot. So I guess who wants to start? How do you guys deal with the pressure? Like, do you feel the pressure? Do you put a lot on yourself? Do you feel it from external things that make things harder? What? I guess at the moment we're all in different stages. We're all prepping for nationals. We're a couple of weeks out, but it's as it creeps up, you start to. I'll go from my point of view first, right? We start I've put pressure on myself on purpose, because I know it drives me to be better, and it drives me to train harder, and it drives me to bring out a version of myself that I can't bring out in training, although I'm always training as hard as I possibly can. But it makes me sort of go another gear because I've gone like, fuck, okay, you did this weeks ago when you were feeling good, and now you're getting closer to competition, you aren't feeling that good, and now you brought this pressure on yourself, because I don't really relatively have any competition head to head or anything like that.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you feel like you've done that because you don't have that as much competition as you thought you would?
Yeah, for sure. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it. Like, I need to be able to drive myself somewhere. So I did that knowing that when it needed, or when it was warranted that I needed to be able to change gears, that I was going to use that as fuel, I guess, to do that. And that's where it's kind of came from. But now I have built like a lot of pressure on myself, or put a lot of pressure on myself. And I have, huge goals that I want to obviously achieve. But now it's like, I've got to come to terms with that mentally, because I've done it to myself. Like, it's not even external. I've done it to myself.
Mm.
Do you feel like you've put yourself in a position when you were feeling good, and now you kind of have to live it even though you're in less of a good condition?
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like I have to live up to the expectations that I put out there that I'm going to do myself, rather than, and then it's put, I don't even know, like, this could be all internal thoughts of mine, which it probably is, but I feel like there's huge expectations of what I'm going to do on the platform from everyone else as well.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it comes from both outside and internal, because a lot of people are excited to see how you perform on the day and see what you can put up on the platform. Everyone's excited to see what Stephen Day can put up.
Do you feel like that's kind of started from when you did have that really good period of training, and there was that question and answer where you kind of said that you were gonna, I can't remember what you said, something whole APU? Like, do you feel like it's kind of started from that?
Yeah,
where you feel like everyone is expecting you to have this big?
I kind of feel like it's both. Like, my training's obviously gone really well for quite a while now, even though I've been dealing with issues and getting through them. But also at the same time, I at everyone, and told someone asked, like, I remember someone asking me, like, who's going to come? I guess a lot happened when I went through the anonymous Q&As, when people weren't afraid to ask things.
True.
Because they didn't have a fucking name behind them. The people that did that too, like, just to know that I don't care whatever you ask me on any sort of Q&A, but you don't have to do it anonymously. But there was a lot of people that were asking things that I guess they wouldn't ask otherwise. And one of them was like, where do you think we'll be overall at Open Nats? And I was like, I'll win, and then I don't care, kind of thing.
I was like, who's going to podium 74s? It was like, me, number 1, number 2 onwards. I don't know. I don't care. Shit. Okay.
Yeah, like, I don't care. Whoever stands up there with me can stand up there with me. But I still feel like that it's going to happen. I'm not changing the way that I feel about that, or the way that I think towards that. It's just that now I know that I kind of feel like I've got to do it, because I've said I'm going to do it, which is the way that I go about things regardless. Like, I'm someone that talks about what they're going to do and then goes out and tries to just fucking do it. And you know, doing it when you're in a good position is easy. Talking when you're healthy, talking when you're feeling fucking good, that's easy. But when you get towards the end and you're like starting to feel sore, things are starting to get hard, you know, I've chucked a few tantrums and whatever else. And it's like, shit, I crossed the line. Am I actually going to be able to do what I said I was going to do? And then it's like, okay, nah, fuck it. We're going to do it. We're going to ball anyway.
Yeah, man.
So do you feel like you have, sorry, you go, Danny.
Your integrity is now at stake once you put the words out there. It's like, all right, now you got to back it up.
Yeah, and it's also things like, you know, obviously, like I get shared quite a bit around on Instagram when I squat heavy or something like that, and it's like people sending it to me. They're like, you're leading Australia right now. Like you're putting Australia on the map. You're the one that's like you know, going to do things that no one else in this country is going to done. Like, and it's like, fuck, there is actually this huge expectation on me that I need to perform.
Do you find it actually affects your decision making though?
Not really.
You just feel it. You just feel it, the pressure.
I just feel it. Not so much my decision making. Like, I guess like I had a terrible deadlift session the other week, which wasn't terrible. It was just me my decision making was poor based on how I was feeling that day, but none of that was based around it. It was just because I knew it was the last week of a block. So I was like, I just want to see where I am literally at physically.
Is that the 292?
That was when I fucking threw my belt.
Can't remember.
Pegged my belt. That actually happens quite frequently around now. But then I'm like, but I'm good now.
I see. How about you, Sam? How's prep going? Expectations, pressure?
I think from me, I'm a lot more realistic now in terms of what I expect from myself on the platform. Like I think back, you know, even only a year or two ago, I think I used to expect so much more on the platform than what I was doing in training. So then I'd get, you know, upset or think I had a bad performance, you know, if you know, go 7, 8 out of 9 instead of 9 from 9 with all PBs. I think now, like, I'm just a lot more realistic in terms of what I'm capable of on the platform based on how training is going. So I think in terms of my prep, like, I'm very much just making sure I'm ticking the boxes in training and then just repeating that on the platform. In terms of pressure, like, I feel like I've fallen short my like last 2 comps being states this year and then the college nationals last year in terms of like missing third deadlifts, and just like that was what was going to take me to a total I'm non-capable of. Like at states, you know, I missed my last deadlift and that would have been like an 830 total, which I know I can do. So like missing that definitely kind of hurts. So there is this, I do feel this little bit of pressure in terms of this nationals coming up, like going 9 from 9 and having that big third deadlift that I know I can do and that I have been hitting in training. I haven't really had any self-doubt or questioning my abilities just yet. I think that might kind of drip in as I head towards like my last deadlift session next week, or like, because my last deadlift session's, you know, 20 days out, there's this like 2-week period where I'm questioning, have I done enough? I should be pulling heavy. I should be bloody having one more heavy deadlift session, you know, to feel prepared. But yeah, I think I'm just like a lot more realistic now in terms of how I kind of approach prep and then the numbers I kind of know I can do on the platform. So yeah, just ticking the boxes. Like, big thing I've kind of changed with deadlifts is just holding every single at the top for as long as I can, just because I had that grip issue at states, which just came out of nowhere. So I'm just making it undeniable and make sure I'm holding the fuck out of, you know, 330, 350 next week. And then that'll give me the confidence when I'm there on the platform in 26, 25 days time.
26, 25.
3.1. 3.2 weeks. Yeah. How about you, man?
Do you feel pressure though?
I think like, and this is why I was kind of a bit bummed when I heard Cam wasn't competing, because I've kind of, now that I'm at a point where I feel like I am competitive in terms of my weight class and like the upper end, I want that competition. I've been looking for that competition because I think, like, you know, years ago, I wasn't really in the mix when I was a 105er. I was, you know, fifth, sixth, not really up there. Whereas now, like, I feel like I'm up there and I want that competition. I'm looking for that competition. And that's why, you know, I jokingly called out Stubby in the 120 pluses, because I'm just looking for someone to go against, because I think I just want to enjoy that nature of competition. But like I was saying before, I'm probably feeling this underlying pressure in terms of having that 9 for 9 performance and that big deadlift that I know I can do. And that's probably the only real personal pressure I can feel right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think you're in a good spot to just ball out.
Yeah. He's in a really good spot.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Hasn't called out anyone, hasn't fucking done anything. He just gets to show up and
sensible. Yeah. That's so good.
What about you, man? How's training? How's prepping going?
Yeah, it's going okay. I mean, it was going really well past the previous block, and now, you know, we're reaching the end, starting to get a little sore, and all these little doubts are starting to creep in. And I feel the pressure as well, both internally wanting to be my best and knowing that there's a head-to-head competition.
Head to head.
My bad.
Yeah.
So in doing that, like, I respect the other competitors enough to realize, okay, like, if I want to win, I need to be at my best. And I want to expect the same from myself. Like, all right, when I'm on the platform, I need to be performing at my best so I can win. And now that we're 3 weeks out, things aren't feeling the way that I'd want them to feel in 3 weeks. These little doubts start creeping in, like, oh man, am I going to be feeling good by the time it rolls around? I don't feel like it's affected my decision making, but I've just noticed, like, mood changes. I'm definitely much more emotional coming into training.
Yeah.
But like, I noticed that coming in, and I just hold it to myself. I'm generally a bit more quiet these days because I know I'm going to say something out of pocket just because I'm moody.
Yeah.
So I'm different from Steve in the sense that I just hold everything in. I don't tuck tantrums.
I ride those emotions. I let them fucking come out.
I'm a bit more like you, Danny. I just keep it into myself and just go music on and don't talk to anyone for the rest of the session.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a bit in a halfway point though. Like, we, you know, a lot of excitement's built around the 66s, I've noticed in the past couple months. And so, you know, generally you hear a bit of shit talk here and there. It goes back and forth, but now I need to back it myself. Yeah. So I'm a bit like Steve, where it's like, all right, well, I've said some things, now I've got to back it up myself. So yeah, that's kind of where my head's been at past couple of weeks.
Do you feel like it affects your decision making?
Not really, no. Like, actually, it keeps me accountable. Me accountable. I'm not going to back out. Like, had it just been myself and my own expectations, generally I would have been like, okay, I'm going to come into this comp with no expectations and just hit the best that I can. But now I'm almost placing the expectation, like, I still need to be at my best, but the stakes are higher. Doesn't affect my decision making in the sense where I'm going to hit something stupid to try and catch up, or because I feel behind. But I just got to make the right decision every single session. Keeps me in the moment.
Yeah, exactly right. I guess it's hard, you know, because there is so many close battles that are coming up, right? You know, so multiple people are going to be dealing with different emotions, and how they deal with their emotions is completely different for everyone, right? And like, I've got no direct competition, but I've said to everyone that I'm going to go out and I'm going to win overall. I've even said, like, there's going to be a decent margin between me and whoever comes second overall, right? And for me, that's like, people have seen that and they've heard that, and then obviously what I did, you know, my last competition was like far exceeded kind of what anyone else did. And now it's like, I need to beat that guy and be better as well. And then it's like, I'm thinking too, like, where the fuck do I go after that? So it's just like, there's a whole bunch of emotions running through my head at the moment, and I guess probably for yourself, it's more like you have just a battle in your weight class.
Yeah.
And there's probably not that much like shit talk that's going on. You're all just kind of keeping to yourself, right?
But we know.
But but it's known, right? It's known that it's gonna come down to the end. No one can make any mistakes, because whoever makes the mistakes writing themselves out of the battle. But it's like you're all probably visualizing that at the same time. Like, I can't make this mistake. I need to hit this. Someone's got to do this. Someone's got to take a chip here. Someone's got to do this. Like, but it's like for yous in the 66, it's whose decision making is it going to affect the most leading into the competition, right? And I think that'll play a big part on what happens in the day. And then it's about managing where you're at. So whoever finishes where is kind of essentially where they're supposed to be, right? Like you can't just keep going all the time. And I guess where I'm going with that is like just managing it now, and then thinking about all the variables that led up to the competition after, but then still trying to control your emotions while you're doing it. Whereas like I said, I'm the opposite to you guys. Like, I fucking just am just straight dog. I just go dog mode.
Do you feel like you've had some of your best training like when you don't have that kind of pressure versus?
So yeah, all the time, man. Yeah. Like, I feel like some of nearly everyone's best training is outside of the competition prep.
Yeah, when you just flowing.
You're
just putting more on the bar each week because you're enjoying it, and it's like less stressful.
Yeah,
but that's not competition though. But that's not competition.
But exactly, that's
think about it in any other sport, right? Like your state's basketball or volleyball, you're just practicing shots. Everything feels really good, but once you get into a game and you choke, that's That's what this sport is now. Like, it's so competitive where, everything needs to be on point, not just in training, but on the day also.
Yeah.
Everything in prep actually leads into the day, and see how things go.
Which is where training should always be sort of treated like prep all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of going back to what we were saying in the last, I think it was episode 2, last podcast, but kind of like for yourself, Danny, how you've been like visualizing that third deadlift, possibly for the win or securing the win, and you've been doing that in training, visualizing that moment, preparing yourself for when it happens on the day.
Yeah.
I mean,
we just visualizing it then.
Yeah, he was just
I was like, oh yeah, fuck, I remember that. Oh yeah. Things have changed. It's gone a bit more just in the moment now. I'm not thinking about 3 weeks out. I'm just, making right decisions right now.
Yeah.
So
based on the scenario that you're dealt with at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I think now that I feel the pressure, it's like, all right, I can't think about what's ahead if I make the wrong decision right now.
Yeah.
Whereas when we're outside of competition, there's no pressure. It's like, all right, now you're free to let your mind go to where it needs to go to stay accountable when there's nothing pulling at you.
Yeah, true. So I guess, when we had that last podcast, it was probably a bit more of like an excitement for you in terms of that visualization.
Yeah, it was excitement. I'm not excited anymore. Now I'm just like, all right, now we fight. Now I fight.
You didn't have that much pressure. So you were just enjoying training and you were kind of having fun visualizing that moment. Whereas now, like with the scenario, 3 weeks out, it's more just serious business, and you're making sure that you're making the right decisions in your training.
Yeah, that's right.
Over hours and fuck up. Yeah.
That's right.
This was only like 3 or 4 weeks ago we had that chat too.
I know, yeah. It's just interesting, like having
completely different conversation we're having now.
Seeing that complete switch in terms of where you were at and then where you're at now with your training, and like got to be really logical with the weight you're putting on the bar to make sure you're prepared.
Yep, just don't fuck up now. Don't fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. Back when we had that other chat, I was like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. I call out everyone just to, build that up and like make me work harder. And now it's at the point
shit like, oh fuck.
yeah, now it's at the point now where it's like, okay, this is what I did and why I did it, and now it's like coming back on me, and just realizing myself that that's why I did it.
Yeah,
I did it for this part of the prep.
Yeah, that's right. Like
when I did it
years
with
ago.
games, yeah.
Yeah, years ago, I didn't feel this pressure at all. It was like, just go in, have fun, compete. But I remember just saying, like, having that lack, I was like, oh, I want this feeling of like competition and feeling of pressure. Now I've got what I wanted. So
it ain't that fun though, man. Like it ain't fun. Fucking being moody and being like everything just like agitates you and fucking gets at you, like the smallest things, and it's just like, fuck off, leave me alone. I don't need that right now, and it can be nothing. It can be literally fucking nothing.
Even a couple of weeks ago, like I remember saying like the little things, I'd go searching for them. Now they're just coming to me. I'm like, oh fuck. Yeah. Here we go.
You're like, I don't want any more little things. Go away.
Yeah. Now it's like, it's funny how it happens. It like takes a complete turn when you get, I guess, like your training mindset and the training mindset and our attitude towards training never changes, no matter where we are based, like on the way to competition or how close we are to competition. But at the same time, as we get closer, we do start to feel pressure because we're going to be, in front of people like, we got faces on fucking Instagram that people like, oh, I can't wait to watch you lift in person. I can't wait to see you do this. Can't wait. And it's like, fuck, okay. Like now I've got to show, because I've always said, like, even when families ask to come watch me lift, or like partners or whatever at the time have come watch me lift, I've always said, like, I don't care if you come or not. Like, I'm not doing it to impress anyone. But now I'm feeling this external pressure that there's a lot of people watching me that I don't even like. I'm not expecting or wanting to come watch me, but it's going to happen regardless now.
Actually, now you say it, I just had this lifter from Britain message me and say like, oh, I can't wait to see what you pull after I post my 330. And then when she said that, I had this moment where I was like, oh fuck, yeah, I better pull something fat now then,
yeah. Well, people are like, I can't, I wish I could make it, but I'm gonna have to watch from the live stream, and I'm kind of just like, no, you're not gonna do that. Like, it's fine. I don't care. Just look at it after.
How do you stay grounded knowing that more and more people are starting to pay attention? Because I mean, as you go as a lifter now, people pay attention. You see yourself on King of the Lifts now these days. Yeah, you're starting to grow. How have you changed the way you think about things to kind of just deal with the amount of attention that you're getting?
Yeah, kinda, in a way. Like, I obviously tick every single box that I can when I like outside of training as well. So that's never changed. Like, I've never changed what I've got to do. I've always been on top of everything. Mate, like sleep at the moment's a bit fucked, but that's because I've got so much work going on. But I've always done everything, so I don't have to change anything. It's just I've just gotten stronger to a point where the inevitable has happened, right? I was always going to end up here in my mind, and I was always going to be this strong, and I was always going to be like, I've always wanted to kind of be up in that range of world record squat. I've always kind of thought that I will break that world record at one stage. I don't know if I'll hold it for more than the session, or it'll get broken in the same session if I do break it. But I've always thought and been confident enough that that'll happen. So I guess I haven't really changed anything, the way that I think or the way that I go about things. But I've always been confident as well. And I've always thrived off my own confidence.
Yeah. So it's played off.
It's played off. It's played off. And it's like, now this me getting like more attention and more traction and more well-known and people paying more attention, if anything, makes me get a bit more cockier at times, to be honest. Yeah, like I know it's funny, but it does.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's like the Conor McGregor walk.
Really strut.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. Are you like, I've thought about this as well, like getting the attention. Do you feel like have you ever thought about being underrated, overrated, properly rated, things of that nature?
Underrated. I felt underrated for a long time. But that was because I wasn't performing the way that I knew I was capable of, right? I kept chasing rather than just like putting up what I was capable of. Once I started just like putting up what I knew I was capable of on the platform is when more people started to notice. Because I wasn't, there was like, if there's a multiple meets in a row where I go like 6 from 9 or like 5 from 9, and this happened for a long time, but I was still PRing my total each time. And then I went a 9 from 9 and added 50 kilos to my total. So it's like once I took advantage. I think you're the same, right? Like you were missing your last deadlift frequently, right? And it was making your total look not as strong as you actually were.
That's what I was saying before for me as well.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 comps, like I'm knocking, 15 or so kilos off my total, which is a big chunk.
Yeah. But you're not going 9 from 9.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like once I started to realize that and just managing my own, managing expectations and putting where I'm at on the platform is when I kind of started to feel fairly rated, I suppose. I don't think I'm like overrated. Maybe could be. I don't feel like it though. Like,
yeah,
in terms like relatively to anyone else, like I'd have to say underrated if we think about it. Like if we look at like points and where we are, and if we look at 74s in the world, myself, and I'm gonna like look from the outside looking in, I'd say I'm probably underrated because I would have placed second at Worlds. But if we look at all those people in the top 5, they're well more known than I am. Every single one of them. But I would have beat all of them besides Atwood.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'd say underrated based on looking from the outside. But I feel like people overrate me at the same time too.
Yeah, same thing for myself right now. It's like, I mean, there was a time when I was like properly underrated, like nobody knew who I was, but that's at the beginning of the sport. That's probably where everyone starts off. Yeah. And now like putting up good performances, you get rated and if not overrated. And just thinking of being overrated pisses me off. It's like, all right, well, the person who should have the highest expectations should always be myself. I don't want anyone to feel like, that I'm not living up to someone else's expectations. That, if someone thinks that I've got high potential, I should be living more than that. So it's fueling me to kind of get better so I can expect higher from myself down the line as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like anything that we can use to kind of be better and use to get better, I think it's going to be beneficial, right? So if you look at yourself as like overrated, underrated, or fairly rated in any sort of way, how do you feel?
I feel like I'm not going to be properly rated until like as a 120, I fucking squat 6 reds, be benching 2 and then be consistently pulling that 350, 360 mark.
Yeah.
Which is fucking coming this year for sure. That's why I've been kind of like beating myself up in training at the moment because my bench is kind of tanked a little bit, and I'm like, I know what I should be benching for my weight class and what I need to be benching in terms of next year in Malta. So then like I'm heading into sessions, trying to put this weight on the bar that just isn't there yet. And then I'm fucking hitting it at 10 and then getting shitty at myself because I just know I should be better. I need to be better. So that's kind of just in terms of managing expectations.
Yeah.
Where I've been kind of struggling a little bit like the last month, just when bench has kind of tanked a little bit. And then that's when we had that discussion saying I need to fucking pull it back to then put my weight on the bar each week.
Doesn't that when there's someone like me in the fucking same room that's in a mood, just like, what the fuck are you gonna do about your bench?
Yeah.
And you're just like, fuck off.
Yeah.
If I don't say it.
Yeah, I know it's fucking shit right now. So yeah, in terms of like rating, I just know my best is obviously coming very soon. And as a 120, I'm going to be properly rated once I get that 6 red squat, benching more on the platform and pulling a fat deadlift, 800 pounds. So yeah, it's coming.
Underrated.
Yeah.
yeah, underrated. I think that's self-biased underrated though. I think like anyone's self-biased underrated, right?
Yeah.
You don't overrate yourself. If you overrate yourself, like fucking hell.
Yeah, that should come from outside.
Yeah. If you feel like you're fairly rated, then you're doing really well, I guess. But yeah, I guess anyone's going to self-underrate themselves. Like,
yeah,
I try to look at it from the outside of like comparing myself and how well people are known and compared to what they've done compared to what I've done. But the difference too is like they've all done it on an international platform, so that's why they're better known. I haven't gone on an international platform, and I need to. There's a big fucking storyline behind why I haven't.
Yeah, from that perspective, you could be seen as underrated still then.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel underrated.
Yeah, yet to show up.
I have to show up.
Who you are. Yeah,
and then everyone's going to be like, oh, okay. Hopefully,
Malta.
Yeah, the pressure for that'll be fun.
Hot boy summer.
I'm not going to be calling anyone out then.
You'll be staying silent on.
But I think the other thing too is like I've already built and established the pressure that will happen if I do make the team and I win nationals. Like because I've already said I've established and I've said that I want to be the first ever open male to podium at Worlds on total, and I've said that numerous times. And so that'll be my fuel, that whole prep.
Yeah.
And then when we get to 3 weeks out, it'll be like now. And I'll be like, fuck, all right, I gotta do it.
That's it, man. It's the game.
The joys of powerlifting.
Yeah. But I think that's all. That was a good talk. Cover kind of everything. Just build like pressure's fine. Manage the expectations is fine. Just knowing it gets harder as the prep goes on, I suppose.
Yeah. Just trying to separate yourself and make sure you're making logical decisions to put the right weight on the bar each week, each session. And then show up.
Don't crumble.
Oh, well, thanks, boys.
Pleasure. 3 weeks.
3 weeks. 3.3. 3.1, 3.3.
Depends on what day. Hopefully we get the schedule soon.